get in the smoke. Call 877-448-0433 to get on the air. Now, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Big B, Moonshine Band, Suburban Noise Records. Let's go! I'm an outlaw. Give me 2 shots. We don't need a radio. Bring a jukebox for my outlaws. Bring me 3 shots. We can raise hell before the speed stops. I'm a whiskey drinking SOB. If you don't like that, then you won't like me. I'm an outlaw.
Oh, it's bonus content time, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, bonus content. Let's be honest, I got a little involved in the show this past Tuesday, and I lost track of time to fit in some on-site location interviews that took place this past weekend at the Pickin' in the Panhandle contest. Embedded reporter extraordinaire Kelly Dodd was out there with her dad, Brian Dodd, who's the pitmaster of Who's Smoking, Who's Smokin'. And she went around and did a number of interviews, not to mention with the likes of Pellet Envy, PA Midnight Smokers, Who's Smokin', Cool Smoke, Chicks, Swine, and Bovine, and 420Q. So what we're going to do here is just go back to back, playing an intro. Then we'll have some of the interviews that she did with the teams. And then finally, she did a follow-up interview with the guys over at Chick, Swine, and Bovine, who ended up winning that competition as well. So sit back, enjoy the bonus content. These are live, on-location interviews that were done just this past weekend at the Pickin' in the Panhandle contest done by Kelly Dodd. Always appreciate the time that she gives to the show and gets these great interviews. So sit back, relax, and enjoy.
This is Kelly Dodd reporting for Barbecue Central Radio. I'm at Pickin' in the Panhandle in Hedgesville, West Virginia. This contest is unique in that it is the only state championship in West Virginia, so the winner gets an automatic bid into the Jack. I'm with Rod from Pellet Envy. How are you doing today, Rod?
I'm doing good.
You travel all over the country to compete in barbecue contests. Do you change your style depending where you are in the country?
No. We cook the same food wherever we go, all over the country, from Florida to Las Vegas, same stuff.
How are you cooking? How's the cook today?
You know, it doesn't really matter what I thought, it's what the judges think. If I like my stuff, they hate it. If I hate my stuff, they like it. So we'll wait till 5 o'clock and find out what they thought.
What were you cooking on today?
Cooked on a Jambo. I call it a gear pit. I've got my trailer that's always had a couple of pellet pits on the back of it, and last summer Jamie built me a custom Jambo that fits on the back here. So it's a traditional offset stick-burning pit.
And where will we see you next?
Next weekend I'll be in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and then in Murfreesboro, Illinois, and then the American Royal.
I'm with Hess from PA Midnight Smokers. How are you doing today, Hess?
Oh, I'm doing just about right. Having a good day.
How many times have you been to the Jack?
I've been there 3 times, and this year will be my 4th.
How do you feel to be returning to the Jack?
Oh, it's exciting. We, everybody wants to end up getting to the Jack, and we did get to draw again this year, so we're looking forward to it.
How do you feel the cook went today?
Some days I'm a little iffy with my cooks, but today I felt that I had a good cook, so I'm looking forward to a good day today.
Were there any categories that gave you trouble?
If I had to say any of them, it would be chicken. But my strong categories are brisket, pork. But I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with the chicken.
And where will we see you next?
I'm going to be at the Smoketoberfest. That's in Chambersburg. And then from there, we're going to the Jack the following week. So.
I'm a Tuffy from Cool Smoke. Last weekend, you won Reserve Grand at Smokin' on the Bay. Does that affect you this weekend?
Well, we've been, I think we've cooked about 15 contests this year, and we feel like we've cooked very good food all year long, but we haven't been hitting our marks. We've been up there in the top 10 pretty consistently, but, our pork and our ribs had seemed to kind of drop off a little bit, and chicken and brisket had been doing strong for us, and I guess starting about 3 weeks ago, we were fortunate enough we went down to Marietta, Georgia, cooking in the Sam's Club event, and we were fortunate enough that day that we won grand, and we had made some tweaks to our food, not big changes, but some small tweaks, and so that put a little skip in our step and a little fire in the belly, and so we said, well, we'll go cook the next contest. So we went to a great little contest in Greer, South Carolina. It was a first-year event, and we went down there and we cooked pretty good food that weekend, but we didn't think it was quite as good as the Sam's Club event. But anyways, we were fortunate enough that day where we got reserve grand, and so we had more fire in the belly and more wind behind the sails, and said, all right, well, now let's go to Tracy's Landing. Well, we didn't know if we were going to be able to go to Tracy's Landing because the hurricane had come through, Irene had come through Richmond, and we'd been without power for about 8 days. And on Thursday morning, my wife says to me, if you want to go to that contest, you can. And so I didn't know if we were going to be able to pull it together and find meat and everything, but I went out and looked for ribs, and we found ribs, and anyways, everything kind of came together. Well, we didn't leave Richmond until 2:30 in the afternoon on Saturday morning. It was a Saturday-Sunday contest, and I looked in my backyard Saturday morning, and there was a Georgia Power guy, and a big smile came on my face, and these guys came all the way up from Georgia to Richmond, and we had a power pole that had snapped in our backyard, and they got out there, and they got on it, and they got us back in power at 2:30, so I disconnected the generator and got everything going, got the windows down, got the air conditioning going. I'm getting windy, I'm sorry. And so we barreled on up the road to Tracy's Landing, Maryland, and got in there, I guess, about 5 o'clock. You know, you were our neighbors that weekend, and rushed pretty much the whole weekend, and a beautiful venue up there. Anyway, we had decent food. And anyways, we all sat around for awards to go, and you know what it's like. You think you've cooked good food, you hope you've cooked good food, and you start to wonder after a while. And anyway, so we ended up getting 4 calls that day. Honestly speaking, we were the only team that had 4 calls that weekend, and there was a pretty good chance that we were going to be up there in the hunt. And then my good buddy, Meyer Mixon, Jack's Old South, he came all the way up from Georgia and robbed me. And I don't know how that man sleeps at night, but anyways, yeah, we were real happy to have reserve. But to answer your question, which I didn't because you asked a question and then I got on a tangent, which I'm known to do. Yeah, I think when it's like you guys winning chicken last weekend. When you win a category or when you're up there, it gives credibility to the recipe that you're cooking and what you're doing with food. And when you have that, then it's just a matter of focusing and tweaking what you have and not worried about whether that recipe is correct or not. So that helps, and so, but this, West Virginia here, where we're at this weekend in Hedgesville, it's about, I think, 49 professional teams, a bunch of good cooks here. Last year we cooked this contest. We didn't do so well. We think we cooked good food today, but you know as well as I do, we're going to find out at 5 o'clock at awards how we did. But all in all, yes, a reserve, a first place in chicken, it helps build your confidence, and I think that can start you down a path of hopefully cooking some better food.
Was there a category that gave you particular trouble?
This weekend? I beat up on my food pretty hard, and I can kind of get windy about critiquing the cook this weekend as well. But, chicken was moist, and it was flavorful, and had a good-looking box. Skin was semi-bite through. It wasn't as succulent as I usually like to have it. Ribs were interesting in that one rack would have half a tender rack and the other half was kind of tight or a little tough. And so I had to kind of improvise and sort through things and then try to figure out how to make a pretty box to that. Pork, I think I overcooked it, but I think I was able to resolve that issue. I like my pork box. I went back to an old pork box that I haven't done in a long time presentation-wise, so it'll be interesting to see. I probably shouldn't have changed it because we've been doing, the last few weekends, we've gotten a call in pork, so I was probably dumb to change it. And then brisket, we were happy with our brisket, so we'll see. How was your food?
It was good. Where will you be next?
We may be in our hometown this weekend coming up. I'll make the decision on Monday. There's a contest, the Recovery Fest. John Shinholzer puts it on in Richmond, Virginia. Second-year contest. I really like the reps. The reps that are there are great. Don Harwell and his wife, and they just do a fantastic job. John Shinholzer's a great guy. So we may cook that one, or we might get itchy feet and go a little further. If we don't go there, it's going to be somewhere like a long ways away, like Decatur, Alabama, or somewhere like that. But I got to make a decision, obviously, and I got, at my household, I got to get with my wife Leslie and confer with her because we got a son and businesses and all this stuff to run too. So, but one of those two probably.
I'm with Mike from Chick, Swine, and Bovine. How many times have you been to the Jack?
This year will be our second.
Are you excited to be returning?
Unbelievably, because it takes a lot of luck to get in there. First you got to win, but then you got to get lucky enough to get pulled, and there are so many good teams that don't get pulled. Jiggy Piggy, 7 years in a row, is yet to get pulled. That's not right. They ought to give them old number 7. They ought to say, okay, you get to go. But there's a lot of teams with a lot of chances that don't get to go, and we just got very lucky.
How was the cook today?
Most of it was pretty decent, I think. I'm hoping anyway. I hope we made the judges happy.
How many years have you been to Pickin' in the Panhandle?
How many years has it been here? 4 or 5? However many years. The first year it wasn't a KCBS contest. I came and catered and vended. That was no fun. But I've cooked every year, rain or sunshine.
And where will you be next?
We'll be, where are we? Racetown next weekend, and then Pittsburgh for the Sam's Club the weekend after.
I'm with Jay Reeder from 420Q. How does it feel in your second year to win the Grand Championship at New Holland?
Well, New Holland was a tough field. There was a lot of good teams that were cooking up that way. I was very excited to win, not knowing for sure, because the calls were all over the place. First place brisket was what put me over the top. And just to be recognized in front of your peers is it's a great feeling just to hear your name called at the end of the day like that. Not to mention, the prestige of it. So.
Does this early success add pressure at competitions?
Almost certainly, that people are looking at you now, that you're sort of especially recently, you're the team to beat. They say, that's the guy from, just won New Holland, blah, blah. So, and of course, being a second-year team, it sets a different bar for me now, personally.
How was the cook today?
Today's cook seemed pretty good. The chicken came out like I would normally like it. Ribs, I thought, were pretty fair. My pork, it's always a struggle with me. Pork is my weak link right now. And the brisket seemed to be pretty good. I'll have a better idea when I get back here and see it on the table after it sits there for about 5 minutes. I get a better idea typically.
And where will you be next?
Our next cook will be next weekend up at Racetown Lake in Pennsylvania.
I'm with Mike from Chick, Swine, and Bovine, who just won the Grand Championship at Pickin' in the Panhandle. How does it feel to get an automatic qualification for the Jack?
Unbelievable. It's amazing. My wife and I were tearing up. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Show.
All right, so there you go. Interviews right there on location this past weekend at Pickin' in the Panhandle. And I certainly appreciate Kelly Dodd again getting out there and putting that microphone in front of some of the top pitmasters out there in the country today. Can't be an easy thing to do. She's not a seasoned professional that has years of media experience behind her. She's a high schooler, and this is something that she might be looking to do in the future. So the fact that she is volunteering her time and basically going up to people she probably doesn't know. Maybe she's actually developing kind of a relationship with some of these folks because she's interviewed them more than a few times. It makes it a little bit easier, but can't be easy, especially for a high school kid to go up to a bunch of, let's face it, most of these guys are, dare we say, fat and maybe not as approachable as some other people in the world. And she's doing some very good interviews, and appreciate the information that she gets for the Centralites each and every time that she is out there. That was Chick, Swine, and Bovine, Cool Smoke, Who's Smoking, PA Midnight Smokers, and Pellet Envy, again at the Pickin' in the Panhandle competition. So, Kelly, thank you very much for doing that. I think it's right, too, that you only get your bonus segment. This should be featured. This shouldn't just be mixed into the weekly show. This should get you a special spot whenever you do it. So from now on, you're going to get bonus content. You're going to add to the feed because really that's what you deserve, Kelly. So thanks again for doing that. All right, quick mentions about sponsors of the show. If you like automatic pit temperature control devices or you like insulated cookers and you want to visit the good folks over at the Barbecue Guru, bbqguru.com, or you can call them 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Also, Fred's Music and Tasty Licks Barbecue Supply, from cookers to cookbooks, wood chunks, wood chips, everything in between. Fred is a trusted online retailer and supporter of the show, so go check him out. Fred's Music and bbq.com is his website, or for the sauces and rubs, Tasty Licks BBQ.com. Also supporting the show is a premier retailer of high-end jewelry to the barbecue world, Stephen DeFranco, which can be found at StephenDeFranco.com. He's got a 30% off the Accutron line of watches made by Bolova. Also, when you call in and pick your watch, you mention my name and the term Barbecue Brother, you get an extra $50 off your purchase. Free shipping anywhere in the country. They'll polish it. They'll engrave it. They'll gift wrap it for free. It's Stephen DeFranco. And Butcher Barbecue, which can be found at butcherbbq.com for the injections and the marinades that you need to have for your competition barbecue to go over the top and get you that walk for grand champion or category wins, or just to make you a grand champion in your own backyard. Get that beef injection, get the pork injection. He's got rubs and sauces as well, and of course he's got that great new product that is called Grill, which can be done via marinade or injection or both if you're throwing caution to the wind. Plus, great new shipping rates as well. ButcherBBQ.com. All four of those folks, proud supporters of the show, and I am happy to support them as well in return. All right. Hope you enjoyed the bonus content. Look for me this coming Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll have fun with another live interview. How about just a live show? Another live show of the Barbecue Central radio show. You can find it a host of different places. The Mothership, Barbecue Central Radio Network's homepage, thebbqcentralshow.com. You can get the audio there in any number of different ways. You can also go to outdoorcookingchannel.com. You can watch the live video feed. You can also take part in the live chat that's happening there. A bunch of people in there each and every week. You can also get the first hour on where it all started live show, latalkradio.com, and then you can switch back over here to the second hour if you want. Doesn't matter. However you get the show, you get it. Plus, you can get all the archives on iTunes. You can also get them on the archives page at the Barbecue Central Radio Network homepage. Thanks again to Kelly Dodd for doing the Pickin' in the Panhandle interviews. I'll see you next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, let me help you help you control the rusty grill grate population. You have raw cast iron, treat it. Put Pam on it or Crisco. Let it bake back in and season those grates each and every time for years of wonderful service with no rust. For crying out loud, no rust. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. And until I see you at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Tuesday, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.